Hello and welcome. I'm Kumbukani Piri with the latest edition of MBC News. Our sign language interpreter tonight is Towson Kamalata. Let's take a look at our top stories. The Roads Fund Administration allocates 50 billion kwacha for the rehabilitation of the M1 road sections that are in bad shape. The Chief Resident Magistrates Court in Blantyre rules that a Dutch national, Wim Axter, has a case to answer on 5 out of the 6 charges he is facing. And in sports, Football Association of Malawi bans Kamuzu Stadium and 3 others from hosting elite matches. Well, I'm glad you could join us. Our top story tonight. The Roads Fund Administration, RFA, has allocated 50 billion kwacha to the Roads Authority to kickstart rehabilitation of the M1 road sections that are in bad shape. Director of Finance at RFA, Alex Mwakata, disclosed this in Lilongwe during a media briefing. Austin Fukula reports.
Makwata indicated that the 50 billion kwacha to be used is courtesy of fuel levies and toll gate fees. He said the rehabilitation exercise will go a long way in addressing poor conditions of the tolled roads. Makwata stated that from January to March this year, the institution has collected toll fees amounting to 1.80 billion kwacha for the 2 toll gates, namely Chingeni and Karinyeke. He said this is an improvement from the same period last year when RFA collected 920 million kwacha, translating to a 96% growth.
Government now allowed us to increase the toll tariffs by almost 100%, effective from January 2026. So we think this is going to go a long way in assisting us maintain the road as expected. But we are also aware that the 3 years we have lost a lot and the road has deteriorated a lot.
Makwata indicated that 4 additional toll gates will be constructed in the 2026 to 2027 financial year, when they will be collecting toll gate fees for maintenance and rehabilitation of the country's roads. The new toll gate locations include Nkamanga in Mponera and Gwai in Nkamenya, both along the M1 road, Chireka on the Lilongwe-Nchinji road, and Nalufa on the Lilongwe-Salima road. Malawi introduced tolling in 2021 as a means to use toll gate fees for maintenance and rehabilitation of its-tolled roads. Austin Fukula, MBC News, Lilongwe.
Minister of Information and Communications Technology Shadrack Namalomba has advised communication regulators in SADC region to move from mere regulation to ensuring that service providers bring digital solutions to be enjoyed by those in remote areas. Namalomba was speaking in Lilongwe during a meeting for Communications Regulators Association for Southern Africa, CRASA. Isaac Jali has a report.
Opening the Communications Regulators Association for Southern Africa, CRASA, the Minister of Information and Communication Technology, Shadrack Namalomba, observed that to date, some communities in the SADC region are yet to be digitally connected and be able to use various digital solutions. Hence, regulators in the region should now strive to close the gap between the connected and the non-connected. Namalomba said he wants to see a SADC region where students should be able to enroll and study online without many hitches, and also where people in the village can source markets and sell online without any problems. Hence, communication regulators in the region should bring solutions that enhance inclusivity.
Connectivity does not only mean that I should be able to connect with a person who is resident in this country. If you talk about commerce, a person, a woman or a lady should be able to transact on mobile money with a vendor, for example, in Zambia. These are just examples of what a connected SADC can be. Our countries right now depend on digital transformation. And indeed, yes, digital transformation cannot be just a success story for any country like Malawi. It must be a success story for all of us in SADC, and even all of us in Africa, even also all of us in the world.
For his part, Acting Executive Director for CRASA, Brian Mwansa, said although the Southern Africa region is registering strides in digital penetration, there is need to enhance collaboration and information sharing among member states to ensure no member state remains behind in digital transformation.
In the case of CRASA, 14 different member countries, each with their own independent judiciary, each with their own independent laws. The challenge of CRASA and why it exists is to make sure these independent national regulatory frameworks are harmonized. They are looking more or less the same, having more or less the same approach, approaching issues of common interest in a uniform and harmonized way.
Board chairperson for Malawi Communications and Regulatory Authority, MACRA, Chance Gondwe, disclosed that MACRA and various other service providers are embarking on various projects, including ensuring public institutions are all connected.
Together with the government, I think we have made some strides in terms of access to digital services, the digital economy. As a country, we are working towards achieving some of those goals so that at least each and everyone is covered, each and everyone plays his part in as far as the digital economy is concerned.
Isaac Jali, MBC, Lilongwe.
The Malawi Communications Regulatory Authority has emphasized the importance of enhanced ICT services towards achievement of the Malawi 2063. The authority's Director of Broadcasting, Zadziko Mankambo, has told MBC ahead of its inaugural Innovations Awards slated for later this month. Mankambo stressed that there are several drivers without which Malawi cannot make tangible inroads in meeting its development blueprint.
These awards are about, as you know, MACRA is accelerating ICT development in Malawi. And this cannot go without others coming on board. That is why we have established this Innovation Award so that various firms, individuals, even the youth can come up with solutions, automated solutions on how we can easily do things in various industries in Malawi. As you know, the vision 2063, every area of it has got ICT development. Without ICT, nothing can be achieved. Hence the coming in of MACRA to accelerate this development. In every country around in the world, all the countries that are doing very well, if you check their scope of development regarding ICT, it's so high. That is why we've noted that in order to get somewhere, to achieve so much within the shortest time, or to be able in the industries to achieve what we could have achieved in the long term, if systems are automated, if the way of doing things changes to embracing ICT, Malawi is going to achieve so much. That is why MACRA is key, is at the center of it all to accelerate the development of ICT.
Now, the Chief Resident Magistrates Court in Blantyre has ruled that a Dutch national, Wim Axter, has a case to answer on 5 out of the 6 charges he is facing. Axter, who's the executive director of the Timotheus Foundation, is accused of sexually abusing young boys and some employees of the organization 5 years ago. Ruth Chinangwa has more in this report.
Chief Resident Magistrate Paul Georgia said that among the charges, the court has acquitted Wim Axter one allegation of battery due to lack of concrete evidence that indeed the incident occurred. Following the ruling, the defense lawyer Michael Gobachibeta requested the court to grant them 21 days if necessary to respond to the charges, which the court has granted. Victor Jere is the state lawyer in the case.
On the part of the state, I think sort of mixed reactions. Ideally, would have wanted if he was found with a case to answer on all 6 counts. But as it has happened, he's been acquitted on 1, and he's been found with a case to answer on the remaining 5. I guess for now, because 5 out of 6 is still more than good enough, but I think we'll find time to study the court's ruling so that we can appreciate properly the basis on which he's been acquitted on the 1 count. But all in all, on our part, I think we are, I would say, fairly happy because this is what we had expected.
Responding to the ruling, Executive Director for Child Advocacy Center, Memory Chisenga, said she is pleased with the development.
Finally, we are seeing justice prevailing after 5 years of fighting for this case. So 5 out of 6 is not bad. And as a human rights defender that has been on this case since 2021, I'm very happy. And I do believe that very soon we are seeing a conviction, very soon we are seeing a sentence. And that is all that we are waiting for.
The case will return to court on May 20th this year. Ruth Chinangwa, MBC News, Blantyre.
The Minister of Health and Sanitation, Madalitso Baloyi, says the country is making significant progress towards eliminating neglected tropical diseases, NTDs, by the year 2030. Baloyi made the remarks in Lilongwe during the official opening of the 2026 annual meeting of the World Health Organization's National Neglected Tropical Disease Program Managers for Africa. For more on this story, here is Chinsisi Moyo.
Just like many other African countries, Malawi continues to face a heavy burden of neglected tropical diseases, including bilharzia, river blindness, and sleeping sickness, among others. Minister of Health and Sanitation, Madalitso Baloyi, says Malawi is making steady progress in the fight against neglected tropical diseases by expanding access to essential medicines and treatment services.
These diseases, most of the times they are called diseases of the poor, and they are neglected, not put in budgets. We are saying to all African countries that can we make sure that we integrate these diseases. In Malawi, there is a lot that we are doing in integrating these diseases in our budgets. This is what is needed to replicate in all African countries so that by 2030 we eliminate these diseases once and for all.
The World Health Organization representative in Malawi, Charles Juguna, says the organization is actively supporting the country through interventions such as mass drug administration targeting diseases like bilharzia.
WHO is very critical in terms of working with the ministries of health, and one of the key things that we do is to ensure that we support the government with mass drug administration and ensure also there is support in terms of logistics, ensuring that those campaigns to be able to reach every child in the affected population or every member of the community, we are able to achieve that.
Namibia's NTD program manager, Unje Kaura, has expressed optimism that the meeting will address key challenges hindering African countries from eliminating neglected tropical diseases.
What is it what we can do together with our partners, together with our funders, as well as our government as well also, how best we can work together in order to eliminate.
The annual meeting of Africa's Neglected Tropical Disease Program Managers has brought together health experts from across the continent under the theme Leveraging Innovative Tools and Sustainable Financing to Advance NTD Elimination in Africa. Chinsisi Moyo, MBC News, Lilongwe.
This is MBC News, a reminder of our top stories. The Roads Fund Administration allocates 50 billion kwacha for the rehabilitation of the M1 road sections that are in bad shape. The Chief Resident Magistrates Court in Blantyre rules that a Dutch national, Wim Axter, has a case to answer on 5 out of the 6 charges he is facing. And in sports, Football Association of Malawi bans Kamuzu Stadium and 3 others from hosting elite matches.
Simagaga, Kola Sojiluga, Stick 6, Riankolani. Kamalo Kajeva, Kumazokolola, Kamwana. Izinimbewu zogwizana ndi kusintha kwa nyengo zopirira kuchitala ndipo zimalola zigawo zonse za dziko lino iphani makwacha komanso thisani njala kolima mbewu za Stick 6 ndi mbewu ndende.
We continue with MPC News. Now, the Minister of Local Government, Ben Piri, has urged newly elected councillors in the northern region to exercise prudence and uphold integrity to ensure meaningful development in their councils. Speaking at an orientation meeting in Mzuzu, Piri warned that public service is not an opportunity for corruption, but a duty to serve Malawians with transparency and accountability. George Mkandawire has compiled this report read by Musase Cheo.
Following the September 16, 2025 general elections in the country, newly elected ward councillors are undergoing orientation sessions aimed at equipping them with the necessary skills for local governance, service delivery and development. Speaking at the official opening of the meeting, Minister of Local Government and Rural Development Ben Piri emphasized that disciplined leadership and proper use of resources are key to transforming local councils into drivers of development. Piri condemned corruption in all forms, saying this derails national development.
Corruption is a virus that, if not tamed, will destroy this country. This country this far has not progressed very well, because all of us, we have not changed our mindset when it comes to corruption. Oftentimes, we have attributed corruption to public officers, but as citizens as well, our minds are corrupt. It's a mindset as Malawians we must change. We must be a corrupt-free country. But a huge responsibility comes in when you choose public office. I therefore are calling for councillors and indeed officers within councils to make sure they are accountable, they are transparent, and they exercise a corrupt-free practice so that at least Malawians can be given the much-needed services.
On her part, Eva Maris, Senior Public Sector Specialist for the World Bank, said councillors play a critical role in ensuring service delivery, among others.
It's critical that everyone understands their respective roles in this endeavor as we're moving forward, and as government is very eager on expanding and strengthening its decentralization efforts.
Mzuzu City Mayor Jembekezo Moses has since commended government and the World Bank for the training.
As councillors, we have new councillors, as I myself am a new councillor, so we need to know how the government lands, we need to know some procedures of the government.
Some of the councils that attended the meeting include officials from Likoma, Mzuzu, Rumpi, Nkadabe and Karonga.
A new printing machine for passports has been installed at Immigration Headquarters Department in Blantyre, which will be printing more passports. Deputy Minister of Homeland Security Norman Chisale confirmed this after paying a surprise visit aimed at appreciating the department's operations. Chisale says the new machine has the capacity of printing 3,000 passports per day. He therefore called on officers to start working day and night in order to print more passports. During his visit, the Deputy Minister told immigration officers that President Peter Mutharika has directed that by April 30, at least half of the passport applicants should receive their passports. Chisale also issued a warning to officers saying those found involved in corrupt activities will be arrested and dismissed immediately. Lilongwe, Mzuzu and Blantyre have new printing machines. According to Chisale, new printing machines will also be installed in Mangochi next week. Now, Malawi could significantly reduce its trade deficit by investing in soybean and groundnut value chains with potential foreign exchange earnings of up to $1.1 billion within 5 years. AGRA Vice President Jonathan Said highlighted this during the 16th Eminent Speaker Series in Lilongwe, where stakeholders gathered to discuss agricultural transformation. Miriam Kaliza has a report.
AGRA Vice President Jonathan Said, who was the eminent speaker at the gathering, stressed the need for a conducive environment for private sector investment, describing it as key to achieving Malawi 2063 goals. He noted that diversifying into soybean and groundnut value chains alone could drive economic growth and help bridge existing gaps. He, however, emphasized the need for better coordination among government development partners and private sector, noting that current investments are often fragmented.
We need to diversify in addition to maize and tobacco and look at other sectors like soybean and groundnuts that can address the gaps we have. And the simplest gap, the biggest gap is forex, right? So we're importing about $3.6 billion of goods and services into Malawi, and we're exporting only 1.8, so 50%. And that's why we keep having forex issues, lack of fuel at the petrol stations, etc. So soybean and groundnuts alone can address most of that gap if we help them meet the potential they have. There's others too that can help, horticulture and so on. But those two alone have the biggest potential to achieve it. They don't need a lot of investment by government in terms of money, but they do need investment by government in terms of time and attention so that the issues that are holding back private investment in those value chains are addressed.
AGRA Malawi Country Director Elufe Nyirenda said Malawi is underproducing soybean despite high demand. She noted that while the country produces about 200,000 metric tons, processing capacity stands at 800,000 metric tons. Nyirenda called for policy alignment and a more enabling business environment to unlock production and tap into regional and global markets.
We are focusing on how we can coordinate our efforts, making sure that the development partners are investing in soybean and groundnuts value chains, which can help us to change our narrative, but also increase our exports. But more importantly, also seeing the role that government can play to ensure that we are coordinating our efforts. It's making the business environment conducive for the private sector to invest, and also ensuring that government itself is also speaking to the needs of the private sector. So once we address those bottlenecks, we should be able to see a movement from the current scenario where we are producing 20,000 metric tons of soybean to 800,000 of metric tons of soybean.
Mwabata Institute Board Chairperson Richard Nkandawile urged the government to ensure strong coordination and consistency in implementing agricultural priorities.
This required, of course, the total commitment of the government, absolutely critical. But also, ensuring also that the international community begins to, support those efforts around coordination, because sometimes it's the international community that also begins to speak at cross purposes with the government priorities. So at that level, we need to make sure that the priorities defined by governments.
The event was organized by Mwabata Institute in partnership with AGRA, the National Planning Commission, and Luana. Miriam Kaliza, MBC News, Lilongwe.
Ripple Africa, one of the organizations working in the environmental conservation sector, says it has gone beyond its 3 million pine planting target in Mzimba during the 2025-26 forestry season. Country Director for Ripple Africa, Forsingwira, told NBC that there is a lot of support from both government and the beneficiary communities.
Planted about 3 million trees, and the catchment area is Mzimba South, that is including Gender as well as Mzimba North. When we talk of Mzimba North, we are also including Mzuzu City. As we are all aware that there is climate change is now becoming a very serious problem, so this tree planting project is one of the suggested solutions to address the problem in Malawi. So that's why we thought of engaging ourselves as an organization in the tree planting as well as forest conservation. The communities we are talking about about here, they are all Malawians, and these are the Malawians that they are the direct beneficiary of these natural resources in the country. So that's why we saw a need that it is indeed important to engage local Malawians into tree planting as well as forest conservation, because these are the direct beneficiaries of natural resources in this country. Yeah, this business project is totally different to other tree planting projects. We are targeting pine here, and we are all aware that timber now is a very big business in this country. So the beneficiaries, local Malawians, they value this tree planting project very much because they can see money in the project. What they see is not the tree you see. What they see behind the planted tree is money. So this is a project, at the end of the project, to make local Malawians to become millionaires. So they really value the project because they are able to see money out of it.
And in sports, Football Association of Malawi FAM has banned Kamuzu Stadium and 3 other stadia from hosting elite matches. This is according to FAM's club licensing first instance body. Amin Musa reports.
According to FAM's club licensing manager Clement Kafwafa, out of 21 venues they inspected, the body has approved 14 that are fit to host elite matches. He says Kamuzu Stadium, Nankaka and Mzuzu are not fit to host big matches this season.
4 stadiums were found to have critical deficiencies that compromise safety, overall integrity of the elite competitions. These stadiums are Kamuzu Stadium, where they are vandalized and missing toilets sit in the eastern side, and also they've got blocked and non-functional toilets. If you go to Nankaka, they're having poor surface with bare patches. So Mzuzu Stadium in complete drainage system across both halves of the pitch, the presence and exposed pipes.
Currently, FCB Nyasa Big Bullets, Ekaya and Mighty Wanderers use Kamuzu Stadium as their home venue. Albert Goga is the FCB Nyasa Big Bullets Chief Executive Officer.
It's not something that we've received lightly. It's a setback, but we have an alternative venue, which is the Joyce Chitsulo Stadium in Mwanza, Kamuzu Stadium being our first option. When stadiums are condemned, there are issues that are raised for corrective measures. So as a club that uses Kamuzu Stadium, we'll also find out what has necessitated to the decision.
Kamuzu Stadium is owned by Ministry of Youth, Sports and Culture, whose spokesperson is Macmillan Mwale.
No, not yet. We haven't received. We just saw that in the social media, and after checking with our colleagues on the ground at Kamuzu Stadium, they are yet to receive that report from FAM. It's possible. We know we have been facing challenges in that area, basically because of 2 reasons. The first one reason is that the facility, as we know, has been there for a very long time, for 60, 70 years, since it was constructed. So some need some facelift, and on the other side is the issue of theft and vandalism, facilities that are taken away.
Among the approved stadia are Zomba, Rumpi, Joyce Chitsulo and Chitowe. Amin Musa, NBC Sport, Blantyre.
Well, that item also wraps up this edition of NBC News, but before we leave, here's a recap of our top stories. The Roads Fund Administration allocates 50 billion kwacha for the rehabilitation of the M1 road sections that are in bad shape. The Chief Resident Magistrates Court in Blantyre rules that a Dutch national, Wim Axter, has a case to answer on 5 out of the 6 charges he is facing. And in sports, Football Association of Malawi bans Kamuzu Stadium and 3 others from hosting elite matches. Scan the QR code at the top right corner of your TV screen to get our news updates. You've been with me, Kumbukani Piri, alongside Talson Kamalata, our sign language interpreter. Thanks for watching and good night.
Very heavy rainfall was recorded.